Hey guys, welcome to, well, I guess I shouldn't call this Bastion time, I guess I should call this Arathorn time, which probably makes zero sense to you, but I'll explain. So first of all, this video has nothing to do with Nintendo whatsoever, nothing to do with any video game news whatsoever. This is basically a vlog, or me rambling, or basically bragging about a project that I just completed. But it's also kind of just a vlog in general, not necessarily specifically about that project. But anyways, I digress, so let's talk about it. Arathorn. What the heck is Arathorn? That's me, of course. Well, at least it's me in as much as Bastion is me, which is not, but is. My real name is not Bastion. For those of you who do not know this, Bastion is the name of the main character from the book The Neverending Story, which was made into a movie, also called The Neverending Story. Well, actually, the book was called Die Unendliche Geschichte because it was originally written in German, but anyways. The point is, I just really latched onto that book when I was a kid, and I've been using that name as like an email address, everything under the sun since forever. Basically an email address, and then also when I decided that I was wanting to release some music that I composed, I tried to release it under the name Bastion, but that didn't work out because it turns out other people in the world also either already have that name or like to use that name as well, particularly a German electronic musician that I'd never heard of before, so that when I had released my dog is barking, oh great, so that when I had released my first EP thingamajig as Bastion back on iTunes 10 years ago or something like that, it became a bit of a problem because then eventually iTunes was like, oh yeah, and then also Bastion created these electronic pieces that I did not create. So I decided with any future musical endeavors, I would have to come up with a completely different name. And so that kind of put my music creation on the back burner for a while. I'm still always, for those 10 years, still always composing, but not with any kind of seriousness. I did go through phases where I would still go ahead and record the things that I'd composed and arrange them and even produce them up to a certain point, but then I would still not actually release any because I was like, I just don't know what to do about this whole name thing. I really don't want to call myself anything other than Bastion. So when I created this YouTube channel, this might amuse you, this is not the first YouTube channel I had created. I've created a bazillion YouTube channels, and most of them have the name Bastion in it somewhere. But anyways, that's a story for another time. So in any case, when I created the predecessor to this YouTube channel, it was under the name Bastion as well, and it was not going to work for music anymore. Out of nowhere, a month ago, decided, you know what? I'm going to take a break from writing, because that's what I've been working on, was some fiction writing. I'm going to take a break from writing, and instead I'm going to focus on some music that I have not completed, and I should just get around to completing it. I had to come up with a new name, and what the name could I possibly come up with? One name that I'd considered was Chiron, which is another character from the Neverending Story, and it's important to me that the name not be something like Link or Zelda. I want people to either not have any association with it, but I have an association with it, so it's kind of like a secret. It's kind of similar with this tattoo, for instance. Notice I don't have like a Triforce tattoo. It has to be something where a true Zelda fan knows, now wait a minute, isn't that the Goron symbol? Like, I can't just have a Link on my arm, for instance, or the Master Sword or something. That's too on the nose. The music name is a kind of similar thing. It has to be something like, I'm really into Tolkien, but I could not name myself Aragorn, or could not name myself Frodo, or Bilbo, or Gandalf, or anything like that. The one name I really wanted to use was Baron, which you may or may not know. He's like the main character in one section of the Silmarillion, but that was already taken by a musician. So many names that I kept coming up with that were Tolkien specific, already taken by other people. So I finally started looking for names that I have never even heard of, and that's where we get Arathorn. Arathorn is a Tolkien character, but not much is written about him, so there's not much that I have to worry about, any connections, whatever. The point is, I just like the way it looked, and the Thorn part especially, because my original birth last name has the word Thorn in it as well, so there's like some connection there. I've completed these 7 songs. Why are they 7 songs? I like the number 7, and they're long-ish songs, some of them, so it equals to about what most artists would release, because, you know, typical songs these days are like 3.5 minutes or something insane like that. These are like 4 minutes, 5 minutes. One is 8 minutes and 57 seconds. These are meditative pieces of music. It's new age, which has all kinds of connotations as well. No, I did not have a setup of crystals around me as I was recording this. I didn't have my Himalayan pink rock lamp thing. No such thing. The new age just means it's instrumental music and it's kind of mystical-ish sounding. It would probably fit in a video game very nicely, basically. A video game like a Zelda game or a fantasy game like Crystal Chronicles or something. That's all that new age really means. It's just like instrumental music that's kind of mythical sounding. Why is it called Between Now and Never? That's a phrase that I just came up with as I was writing one day. As I came up with that, I was like, ooh, I think that would make a good name for a song, like a song with lyrics. So then 3 or 4 years ago, I actually set about to try to write a song with lyrics, and the lyrics were fine, but I'm no great lyricist, so there are no lyrics. I took the lyrics out and replaced the voice part with a pizzicato cello and an instrument doubling over that called a marxophone, which is very similar to like a harpsichord, but more earthy feeling, more raw. I guess I can go through each of the songs and explain what they mean. Not really what they mean, but why they're named the way they are. So there's the prelude, which is just a slow rendition of Between Now and Never. Then the next song, if I remember the tracking correctly, is called Golden Road, which is interesting because when I wrote this song back in like 2001 or something like that, it did have lyrics, and it was called Today, which is a very stupid title. The reason why it's called Golden Road is for like 5 different reasons. Reason number 1 is there's one of my favorite books is called The Golden Road. Wow, suddenly the camera thinks I'm extremely red. That's very concerning. So there's a book called The Golden Road in the game that we used to all call Seiken Densetsu 3, but now we can call Trials of Mana. There's a section called The Golden Road, which is very cool, which looks a lot like the Yellow Brick Road in The Wizard of Oz, and I guess that's reason number 3, because The Golden Road is kind of like the Yellow Brick Road, somewhere taking you on an optimistic journey to some sort of completion. I'm giving away too much of what the song is about. Then I think, if I remember right, the next track is called Magnolia Pavilion, and that's simple. That's just a place from the book The Neverending Story. There's this thing called the Ivory Tower, in which lives the childlike empress, who's basically the goddess of this whole world, and she lives at the top of the Ivory Tower in a flower-shaped thing called the Magnolia Pavilion. Probably the 4th track is Some Warm Fields, and that's just what it is. As I was listening back to how the song was coming along, I was like, this reminds me of that time I was walking through those fields and it was all nice and warmed by the sun. Probably the next track, I forget what order these things are in. I think track 5 is Nacrangiarta, which is Irish Gaelic, and I'm probably pronouncing that slightly wrong, which just means the enchanting trees, and that used to also have lyrics written in English, and I came up with this piece of music, this song, when I was probably like 17, and the lyrics too, and the lyrics are not great. They're really bad poetry. So maybe 10 years ago, I was planning on recording a vocal version of this song, and I was like, yeesh, these English lyrics are terrible, but I'm really into Irish stuff now, and especially the artist Enya. In fact, a lot of that song is styled after Enya, the synth pad on one side, and the strings pad in the middle, and then the organ on the other side. It's all just clearly a ripoff of Enya's like Irish lament style. Her songs like Samincha and Nalea Gael Moiga. I'm probably totally mispronouncing those. I had somebody that I knew who was native Irish speaker translate it into Irish for me, and then also provide me with the pronunciation guide. And I tried recording it in Irish like 10 years ago, and it doesn't suit my voice. The funny thing about this song actually is that I had recorded the vocal guide on the piano, and with the intent of that's never actually going to be in the song. I'm going to take that out and just leave the vocal in. But then, now that I decided it's not a vocal song anymore, thankfully I still have that piano thing in there, so I was able to just leave the piano as is, although I never intended. There's like 2 mistakes in it, and since I'd never intended for that to be in the final song, but it is anyway, too late now. It's important for me for things to be authentic, and I wasn't going to go back and fix those 2 wrong parts because that lessens the authenticity for me, so they're in there, and that's how it is. Then the next track 6, oh boy, I forget. I think that's probably, I don't even know if I know how to pronounce this properly. It's one of Tolkien's words. It's an Elvish word, and it's Aldudenie, which is the Lament of the Two Trees. And you can look that up. It's a very beautiful story, which will never make it into any Tolkien movie or Amazon series, but that's okay. But it's a very interesting story about these two trees that were very important on the Isle of Valinor. Oh, Valinor is a name that I wanted to call myself musically, but that was taken. Very frustrating. Or then the people who live in Valinor, the Valar, I wanted to call myself that. That was already taken. Everything was taken, so I'm stuck with Arathorn. That's what those songs are kind of about, sort of. And like I said, this all came about as a total accident. Like, I've been working on some of these songs off and on for like 10 years and never really thought that I was going to complete them because I kind of put the whole music thing on the back burner. But I had been really throwing myself into writing. I've written 4, but really 3 books since January, which this is the end of June, so that's pretty fast. They're not great, probably, but they're written, and they're novel-length books, like 300 to 400 pages, you know? My dog is barking again. I'm taking a little break from that because right now I'm trying to get agents to look at the sort of second or kind of third of those books. The first one did not go so well because it turns out I technically didn't write it in the genre that I thought I was writing it in. I thought I was writing a young adult book. It turns out that young adult means 18 or younger, not 19. And the character is 19, so you might say, oh, just replace like 19 for 18, but that doesn't work because he was living on his own, and that's also a no-no in young adults. You have to still be living at home, be going to high school. So, in any case, that book went onto the back burner, then worked on the next one, and finished that one, and was very happy with that one, and sent that one out into the world of agents to look at, and now I've gone back and rewritten the first one. Like 50% of it had to be completely rewritten from scratch, basically, to make any kind of sense. But there's also another one in there, in between 1 and 2, that is nothing that's ever going to be published. I just had to get it out of my system. And then now there's another one that I had started writing, a children's book. A middle reader's book is the specific genre it's called. After like 5 chapters into it, thought, you know what? I'm a little done with writing right now. Let's go work on some music instead. So I did. And now it's out. And if you want to listen to it, you can listen to all the tracks. If for whatever reason you want to actually buy it, it's only selling for $3 because I like the number 3, okay? I guess I could have set it for $1, but I set it for $3. You can pay more than 3 if you want, but it's $3. And I've got like 14 more songs mapped out that I will be working on over the course of the next 2 years, so stay tuned for those. And then I'll keep you guys updated if I hear anything from agents about any of the novels that I've been writing. So anyways, that's it for this rambly episode. If you have any questions about the album, leave those down in the comments, and I will make an updated video, a new video answering those questions. So see you guys next time. Bye guys.